Sporting vibrant colors sure to make a statement on the pickleball court, Selkirk launches a paddle for players who refuse to compromise on their game. Available in 5 bright colors and 2 head shapes, Invikta and Epic, the Amped Pro Air paddle offers a blend of power and control with a smooth feel. With a weight range of 7.8 to 8.2 ounces, the paddle features a new X5 Plus honeycomb 16mm core for a consistent sweet spot, and a new Fiber Flex Plus fiberglass face with ProSpin Plus Next Gen micro texture for added power and spin. Additionally, the paddle has an upgraded octagonal handle and signature aerodynamic throat for excellent maneuverability. Due to some very windy weather outside, we have brought the playtest indoors into our makeshift pickleball court here on our tennis court, but very excited to playtest. We've been playtesting this for the last couple weeks. And the first thing I wanted to mention on these Amped Pro Airs was that I had a bit of an adjustment period. It wasn't love at first sight for me. When I first started hitting with this paddle, I couldn't figure out what I was doing wrong, and then I realized that I was actually ahead of the ball, that the paddle is extremely maneuverable. So I was actually kind of meeting the ball and letting the ball come to me. So I had to make a small adjustment on that, as well as the feel. For me, I thought the sweet spot was just a little bit on the smaller side, and so I just had to get used to where the ball was landing on the paddle and adjust from there.
Well, first off, I want to say a big thank you to taking this review indoors. Even I was going to have a bad hair day today. It is pretty blustery out there. That said, I agree. I don't notice you having much of an adjustment period getting used to a paddle, and I did notice you were kind of ahead of the shots there before the time you had to. So that is going to make me say these paddles are very slippery. The technologies are there. They're functional, noticeable with the edgeless design and the hole in the paddle, which I would feel like it would enable you to kind of add more weight to the paddle and be able to better utilize it effectively in play. In terms of both paddle shapes, I always just go straight for the longer, elongated, rectangular paddle. But suffice it to say, the more I played with the Epic, I really didn't have a preference one way or the other. I might have liked where the proportion of the sweet spot of the Epic shape was relative to the Invikta. What did you think?
Yeah, so I started with the Invikta, and as I was saying, I was having trouble feeling, so I actually went to that Epic shape, which isn't typically my preferred paddle shape, but I started to get a little bit of better feel of where the ball was landing on the paddle, maybe because it's a little bit squattier or square, that the ball was landing a little bit closer to my hand, so I was getting a good feel on where the ball was landing on the paddle and the kind of building from there. I think towards the end of the play test, I was definitely leaning more towards that Invikta once I really got a good feel for the paddle and I really liked how the shape played. I think the highlights for me was that it was a little bit, it's not a negative, a low-powered response, which for me is great. I could really swing through the ball, no fears of overhitting, and really have some control to do what I wanted. I also really started to love that feel. I know it took a little bit of time, but once I did adjust, I was finding myself hitting some shorter volleys, kind of bringing my opponents forward. I also liked my dinks, which is normally not my strength, but I could get into some good dink rallies and actually hit some good angles and really control my depth on where my dink was landing in the no volley zone.
Well, one thing I noticed being on the other side of the net from you was your two-handed backhand swats. I know this is a 5.25-inch handle length. You use a two-hander as opposed to I'm basically a one-hander. No compliments, just the facts. Your two-handed swats, high up or low, were incredible with this paddle, no doubt about it.
Thank you so much. Well, I think for me, the handle length is, I think I'm going to steal it from you, just long enough for me to get that second hand on the paddle. Now I did have to kind of choke up a little bit, so the top of my left hand was resting on the paddle, but I was able to really kind of get around the ball and hit those great backhands that I love to hit. What do you think of the rest of the paddle?
I'm going to throw a new term out there as well, the crangle, a crazy angle put together. She can hit them from any part of the court where it's just literally an acute angle taking you right off the court if you can even get to it. But overall, you know, just the intelligent design, they're kind of borrowing from a lot of different elements of their other paddles. You're working with an X5 Plus polypropylene core that I believe comes from the Vanguard Control. And then you're also working with kind of a twin base layer of Fiberflex Plus, and that's going to give you a high degree of durability, a little extra power, and then on top of that, for incredible spin. We don't know how long this is going to last, but so far for this play test, it's been really good overall. They've got what they call their Pro Spin Next Gen outer layer. So very spin friendly, very predictable paddles. And unlike some of the thinner cores like a Power Air, I always like to use that one because it's so polarizing, it's very lively. And then the Lux, which is a 20 millimeter thick set core, I definitely like the medium poweredness of it. And my game is complemented. I'm a decent source of power, so I thought backcourt power was great and measurable. And then where it really shined was in towards the net. And I definitely noticed you were roasting me on some touch shots for sure. Great cat and mouse game where you could play your power and then just flip the switch and play defense as well. So yeah, an easy paddle to play with.
I think we both had a lot of fun playing doubles together. We are maybe I should speak for myself, but maybe a little bit harder on our paddles at times. We had to be a little bit careful when we were tapping them, as it is an edgeless paddle design. So I was seeing after about 1 to 2 hours a little bit of scuffing on the edge of the paddle, and I think it'll probably continue as I go, but I am hard on my paddle, so it was expected. Overall, I really love all the fun colors Selkirk offered. If I had to pick one, I'm definitely leaning towards this purple color. It really suits my style. And I think that the more and more I played with this paddle, the more and more I loved it.
Yeah, you grabbed the purple one. That's my high school Rigetti colors. I would have grabbed that one as well, but I definitely like the red or blue as well. You did make mention of paddle durability not really being an issue, but you're looking to preserve these paddles as long as possible. I would definitely advocate getting some protective tape, and then that would also kind of cover the base of adding some extra mass-based power along with protecting the paddle itself.
All right, well, I think that wraps up this play test. For more information on Selkirk paddles or anything else pickleball, head to totalpickleball.com.